This week on PopDiskette, we celebrate the end of a successful season of work and passion with the PopDiskette Season 1 finale. From all of us here at PopDiskette, we thank you, our listeners, from the bottom of our hearts for accompanying us on this journey. We couldn't have made it this far without you. Tonight's episode is something we'd like to call the Rapid Fire Roundtable, where each writer from our show poses 3 questions that we all discuss together. We're tackling some interesting topics tonight, so definitely stay tuned. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at PopDiskette, and thank you all again for your love and support.
Hi guys, it's Rachel here with PopDiskette, and first thing I want to talk about with my rapid fire roundtable discussions is video games to anime adaptations. The good, the bad, and the ugly. What are some of y'all's favorites, if you can think of any?
I had something, now it's gone.
Well, some of my favorites are the Danganronpa series, of course, as well as Ace Attorney.
Persona 4.
Oh yeah, especially the Persona 4 anime. We were just about the Persona anime, what was that, a few weeks ago?
Yeah, the 5 anime was kind of mad to me.
It was. It didn't even capture the full story. So I was kind of upset about that.
It felt the way that the Golden adaptation felt.
Yeah.
A lot of people like the Golden one, but I much prefer the original Persona 4's anime.
Yeah.
Just because of how it was set up and it tried to do things differently.
I kind of like the Persona Golden animation. I was confused at first because I was like, who is this girl? And then because she just entered herself into the story, and I was like, okay. But it was still fun to watch.
Yeah. Sometimes it's done right. Like Ace Attorney or
Now, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to stop you right there. What did you say about the Ace Attorney anime?
that it exists.
Yeah, it sure does, because it ain't good.
That it exists. Just some of my favorites. And I guess because when I think about video game to anime adaptations, I'm like, oh, I see these things in games, and I'm like, I wonder how this would look in an anime.
Mm.
And it looks in Ace Attorney exactly how you think it would.
Yeah, and sometimes that's not always a good thing.
It's not always a good thing. But you know, we still support it anyway, or we try to. Another one a lot of people probably haven't heard much about is Angels of Death. I know I told you about this one, where it was a game created in RPG Maker by one person. And now it has a whole anime. It's pretty good.
Oh, I love those RPG Maker games that end up becoming their own series. Like, ooh, I could see this on TV, and now I finally get to see it on TV.
And that's how I feel about a lot of video game to anime adaptations, because a lot of times it elevates the story to where sometimes the anime has worlds, towns, and rules and laws that are not even present in the video games. So sometimes it can make the lore deeper. And also, a lot of people who's not into the game might just be into the anime.
Yeah.
So I know specifically for y'all like the Witcher series, which I haven't played the game, right?
Nope.
I have.
I have. I haven't seen the full series, but the game, oh yeah.
Now, when it comes to that in particular, for a time I was Geralt of Rivia.
Oh yeah.
When I played the game, but the series is actually pretty good. I watched the whole thing, so it's pretty true to it. I like it.
I've heard.
Did y'all hear what they did to my boy Henry?
Yes.
Yes.
I can't stop hearing it.
It's everywhere.
Oh, it
Everywhere.
sucks. Like, he left The Witcher for a reason, but just seeing that the Superman movie isn't happening is like a kick in the face.
a second kick in the face.
No.
But I mean, it's good when it kind of broadens, because not everybody, unfortunately, into anime is also into video games.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work out like that. So it's good to get people into like the series who are those types of people. Like, oh, I'll play the game, or oh, I'll watch the anime, but I won't do the other. And I think that's what happened with not only the Danganronpa series, because I often see a lot of people, especially on like TikTok, that they comment on things and scenes from the anime, but then the gamers come in and they're like, oh yeah, well, you didn't know that this happened because this happened in the first game.
Yeah. It's funny how people just do that. They try so hard to compare the original thing to the anime, and then they're like, well, they left out this part, or this part went on too long. That's why it's an adaptation. It's not going to be the exact same thing you saw already.
Especially not. And how could I even forget? Excuse me for forgetting my top favorite, the Higurashi and Umineko series.
Yeah.
It went from visual novel to anime, and that was a lot of people's complaints. That's what, when you said that, that's what reminded me of that. Because a lot of people's complaint was, oh, this really great and well thought out section of the game translated into like a minute and a half in the anime.
Yeah, it's not always gonna hit the same way.
When it's right, but you know, when it's not. My next topic that I want to discuss at the round table is a lot of people's favorites, comparing and contrasting Deku and Tanjiro.
So why those two characters?
Why those two characters? I'm glad you asked, because not only do people think that they have the same voice actor, but I personally think that they act the same, whereas their personality, fighting methods, where they're both willing to die.
Yeah.
To be able to kill just the next enemy, and growth as like characters as well. I think that they're very similar, even if they have different backgrounds.
I've seen this debate like on online a lot, and they're just like, oh, they wouldn't fight each other. Oh, they're both sweet. I mean, if either one of them saw each other as a threat, though,
yeah, like come on,
they would rock each other. It would probably just be Tanjiro with his forehead, and then just
like what's up
and
with
then that
them?
would be the end of it. After that, I can't say.
I don't know. Who do y'all have in the fight?
If we're talking about them battling against each other, which I didn't think that's what this was.
Oh no. No, I'm just saying hypothetically. That was
Yeah, of course it's hypothetical.
I see a difference between Deku and Tanjiro. Of course, I don't know that much about Deku because I hadn't watched that much My Hero. But as far as Tanjiro is concerned, he doesn't seem that more willing to throw himself into the fire and, you know, expend all the energy necessary and do everything. Just give everything to his last molecule, so to speak, like I've seen Deku do.
I can see what you mean.
Yeah.
I can see what you mean. Deku's like, I'm gonna break every bone in my body to get this last hit.
Even if only a molecule of me exists, as long as I beat this person, that's Deku to me.
Yeah, and Tanjiro is right here like, bruh, I'm just a human. I'm trying to fight these demons. I have bones. I can feel. Everything is broken.
This hurts.
This hurts.
I can't breathe.
I can't breathe.
And that's my thing, breathing. Meanwhile, Deku's like, oh yeah, I can break this arm, and then I can just swing the empty sack at you.
You know what? You got a great point. Deku would definitely flail his dead limbs.
Like, forget it if I got
That's
air in my
enemy.
lungs.
Yes.
Breathing.
Too bad Tanjiro can't have air in his lungs.
But that's the main thing he needs to like fight, to breathe, and that's funny to me.
That is funny, because Deku apparently don't need bones to fight.
Apparently not. He can literally
Man.
turn them into weapons himself.
I guess I see the differences in them though, but I definitely have probably Deku in the fight. And speaking of anime again, let's talk about if anime is for men or for women. What do y'all think?
Do we have to pick a side?
No, you don't have to pick a side.
Are
You
we
can say that they're for both.
Choose a side.
You can say you're for both. You can say it's for everyone. That's how I feel.
It sounds like I'm being forced to choose a side.
Yeah,
No,
that question is very controversial.
That is a loaded question.
Oh, this fun. I, for one, am for everybody. Now, I remember back in the day when people would be like, like me and my friends or ex-friends.
I'm going to be devil's advocate and say anime is for men.
You know what? I feel like a lot of anime with like fan service was made for men. I can say that. Definitely. The short skirts, big chest, the whiny needy.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't even, and then especially like in shows where like the female character is like all weak and just awful. Like you're just there just to look good.
They're a damsel.
It's annoying. It really is. Tiresome to see sometimes. It depends on the character.
But you know what? I can also say that there's a lot of anime out there made specifically for women.
Oh yeah.
Especially the slice of life genre. Of course, romance, but they make those for guys too.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of things about just like togetherness and wholesomeness, you could tell those were made with women in mind rather than, all the shonen anime, which is literally young men anime.
Bland young men in anime.
Yeah.
Or I'd argue and say that's more so going through the classical story arc, the hero's journey type thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's so bland, because we've seen it and heard it so many times.
Yeah.
But I think that's just kind of the evolution of the whole thing, because men were into comic books, into manga, reading it, and women weren't doing that stuff 20, 30, 40 years ago, or not a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of grown a lot more, especially since it's come over here and everybody's watching. Everybody doing it. So it is for everybody. Don't get twisted.
Yeah.
Go watch it.
I definitely think
Get you
it's
some.
it's more mainstream now. I remember back in the day when me and my friends in middle school, we'd be talking about anime, and a lot of the girls in our class are like, "Oh, y'all over there talking about that nerd stuff." But then nowadays, some of those same girls will be like, "Oh, well, I like Demon Slayer. I like My Hero." And what will end up happening is that what I've seen, I've never done this because I think it's for everybody. But what I've seen is when they're like, "Oh, so you girls like anime now? Name 3." And I'm like, "Oh Lord, here we go."
Because back then, it was cool to hate on anime.
Mm-hmm.
And now, since anime watchers were like, we ain't got to take this, we're just going to ignore you. Everybody like, okay, let me see what this is about. They're watching it for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, man, I've been missing out all these years.
On content. And those same people are now at conventions.
I was like that.
Wow.
I was. I used to think my brother and if you're listening, Jordan, I'm sorry, but
Wow.
I used to think my brother was like so corny and so weird for liking anime, and Dragon Ball Z was all he would talk about. He would talk about, and I'd be like, oh my god, they're just screaming, and look at them, they look like balloons. Why do they look like? I'm like, that's so dumb. And then I got to watch it, and I was just like, I kind of like all of these people. And Vegeta. Vegeta is
he be acting like Vegeta sometimes, don't he?
No, Vegeta is my favorite character, and I'm just like, I never knew there was people characters in anime that are like this, and so I started gravitating towards that type of character in anime. So it's funny to watch.
Well, I for one, and I'm glad everybody agrees that anime is for everyone. Well, that's all I have time for on today. This is Rayto again, And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at PopDiskette.
D-Moby is here. And I'm here to talk to you about games.
My favorite.
Yeah, I decided to sing it today. Yeah. So today we're just doing a flash roundtable. And the first thing I wanted to bring to you guys, what is your least favorite video game of all time that you played and why? We'll get a big sigh over here.
Now that's a loaded question.
Yeah. I haven't played too many particularly bad games, but I could probably write a book with the amount of games that I just disliked playing. Let's see, if I had to choose one.
No?
It's kind of hard for me to choose one.
Okay, I'll let you think for a bit. I'll let you think for a bit. Now, one thing, I have played Superman 64. That goes down as one of the worst games of all time. I didn't hate it.
You didn't hate it?
I didn't hate it.
I just have vivid pictures of his stiff, laying straight body flying through the rings.
Looks like a blue and red log just flying through the air.
See, he didn't ask which game was bad that you played. He asked which bad game did you dislike playing.
Yes, you personally.
Because if we want to talk about bad games that I had fun with, Sonic 06 comes to mind. Ooh, that game was so bad, but it's so broken, it's funny. It's an enjoyable experience every time I play it.
You know what? That's a fine question. That's cool. Because I didn't particularly enjoy Sonic 06. I got to the point where I did not finish Sonic 06 because I hated the way Sonic controls so much.
That's reasonable.
I couldn't stand it.
A bad game I didn't like. I don't know, because when I think about a bad game, everybody has a different definition.
What was your definition of a bad game?
I feel like a bad game is one that I did not enjoy, where I played and I'm like, oh no, I'm returning this. And I don't return games.
Yeah.
I do not return games.
Like, over the years, I think you could count on one hand the amount of games he's ever returned. And I'm pretty sure that number is like less than 3.
Let me tell you, you know what? Choo Choo Rocket on the Dreamcast. That's a game. You want to talk about that one that I didn't like? It was bad, that one. It was literally these preset maps, if you can call them that, where you were having to redirect these mice home. And there's like these, I guess you can call them cats, these walking polygons.
Yep.
And it was like, oh, you direct them home and it's kind of like, it's supposed to be like a puzzle. I played that game 3 times and I asked for it to be returned. And this was when I was a child. So I wanted it gone enough.
I'll take it back.
I wanted it gone enough.
It was like, no.
To where I was like, can we take this back? And they gave us $9.
Wow.
So they knew it was bad, and I played it. And I like the niche games, but no,
that wasn't it.
Not that one. And it has a cult following. How dare you?
Now, there's been plenty of games that I've like rage quit and haven't picked back up, but nothing bad enough to where I'm like, I physically cannot play this game.
So there was a game that I put down and I picked up every so often for 4 years, and I put it down because I hated it. But I finished it because I ended up loving it in the end. That game is Lost Odyssey on the Xbox 360. hated it. It was so hard, so difficult. I couldn't do nothing.
For years, I was like that with the original Kingdom Hearts and with Final Fantasy X. Like, I would watch my sister play through with like incredible ease, and then I try to play it. I'm like, oh my god, I hate this. How can anyone love playing this? Especially Final Fantasy X. Those battles can go on for like years.
Regular battles.
Yes.
Regular battles. Like, you just chilling, and then you run into something that's on this road, and you done spent 3 days trying to fight it. Because
I recently tried to play that.
You want to know what that just made me think about?
What?
Xenosaga 2.
Oh, don't remind me. Yeah, you want to talk about a bag?
Xenosaga 2 with its soft lock system. So what a soft lock is basically you play the game up to that point, and you need a certain level to progress past that point. And the way the game is set up, you can't backtrack to grind levels. You can only go forward. So if you're under leveled by the time you hit a major mid boss, you will be stuck there. Because all you can do is die and come back to life and fight it again. You can't go back and get more items. You can't change equipment because you don't have anything new. You can't go find other enemies in the area. It's literally you wake up, you go fight it, and if RNG says you win, you win.
Yeah,
I'm unfortunately very familiar with what he explained.
Wow.
I don't know. Did I ever tell you about the Caligula effect?
Yes you did.
So deleted that. It felt like a really, really stale Persona game. It felt Persona adjacent, because I don't even want to say inspired.
Wow.
But it was very bland for a JRPG, and I love random JRPGs. It was very bland, and I was like, "What is this?" And I think I was updating something. I didn't have no space, and I was like, "Oh, what is this?" I mean, what's this game that I? And I remember I opened it, I tried to play it, and I was like, "Why am I still at the first? This is first level. Like, I'm still in the tutorial."
So, and to kind of move things forward a little bit, I did want to talk about something a little bit less. Yeah. So, what has been a good game that you played this year? Favorite game that you played this year? It can be an older game, could be something not made this year, but anything you got.
My favorite this year has been Persona 5 Royal.
Wow. I was going to say the same thing.
Wow.
Just because the original Persona 5 was like a blew everything out of the water kind of experience. But Persona 5 Royal like just added on to that original style. And it's a great experience.
Yeah. Yeah, and I got that experience firsthand because most of y'all watched me play through it. And I pretty much did everything on my first playthrough. I love RPGs, they just take too much of my time. But I loved playing through that game. It was an amazing experience, and I've never personally played a Persona game before that. So, thank you.
Oh, of course. You'll get a chance to go backwards real soon.
My favorite game to play this, because I'm not a game player. I usually just do like player versus player games like Injustice and Tekken and Ninja Storm 4.
It counts.
Yeah,
It
yes.
counts.
So, but I like Genshin Impact. I've never played like an RPG. So it was like really new to me, but because I was reluctant for like a long time, but then I was just like, I might as well just pick it up since my friends are playing. And I
You
really
got
love
sucked
it.
in.
Yeah, I did. I didn't want anyone to know until like I was a certain level. I was like, now I can play with you guys. But like, then just like, where did you just come out of nowhere? Like, yeah. But it's interesting to me, like the story, and I want to find out all the secrets because there's a lot of secrets.
Oh,
So
yeah, there are.
just
Oh,
made
yeah.
me care.
I remember hearing about that because you grinded super hard
Yeah.
to catch up with everybody.
I did. I was playing like all night, and I was like just like up until 2 a.m, just trying to collect Prima Gems and money and trying to level up my characters. It was a nice journey.
That was a good game this year.
Yeah.
I would have to say my favorite this year was definitely Psychonauts 2. Psychonauts 2, it came a long while after the first one, and I played the first one, so it was I liked it because I like games like that, the weird adventure types.
Yeah.
And I heard the 2 was coming out, and I was so excited. It came on Game Pass, and I was like, "This is everything I loved about the first game times 10." It was hilarious characters, as I'm sure y'all have seen when y'all have seen me play some of it. The story's good. The graphics are turned all the way up, and it's a lot more to do than you had to do in the first game. So you can put more hours into it with like actual things to do and find. It's kind of like side quests in a way that they added.
Wow.
But that was my favorite.
Yeah, I love the original Psychonauts. So Psychonauts 2, I gotta check that out too.
That's on Game Pass.
Oh.
You got to check that one out.
Oh man.
I haven't played, but I just know that one scene with the milkman and how obscure it was.
Iconic.
She was freaking out. What are you doing? What have you done?
I promise you, I wish I could tell you the whole game wouldn't like that, but it is. And it's the best thing in the world.
I get that.
Well, that is great. And that's all the time I got for you. So hit us up on our Twitter and Instagram at PopDiskette. We'd love to hear from you. What's your favorite game? Tell us.
Adriel here.
You forget who you were?
I did. Hello there, Adriel here, and I would like to talk about some things today. First of all, movies. Specifically, movies with shaky camera cinematography. Why?
It sounds like you're talking about Cloverfield. Are you talking about Cloverfield?
Yes.
Okay. I get what they were going for. I get it. You know, horror, scary, shaky. I'm a person in the movie. But it what? But it didn't do what they thought it was gonna do.
I don't know. The Blair Witch Project, I think, was like that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was.
It
was supposedly like one of the first mainstream ones to come out. Nope. Nope.
I don't know. It's just the last. I think it was the last Exorcist or the last Exorcism was also like that, and a lot of people didn't really. I don't know. Okay. So I have hard time focusing on things, and my attention span is not that long. So when things are like shaking in front of me, and I'm trying to pay attention to one thing happening over here, and then 3 things happening over here, and then the monster's like right there in the air, I'm just like. I can't. It takes a while for me to like actually focus on the actual movie, and it makes it difficult, I think.
And I have the opposite problem because I can pay attention to a lot of details at once, and also like just my focus is just spot on sometimes. But when the camera's shaking all over the place, I don't know what to look at.
You can't take in the scenery.
I am the same way. Like when the camera's stable, you know, I'm looking off in the background past characters, watching what's going on in the background. But then when you got all this shaking and it's sort of forced perspective, making you look at just what's going on, it makes me feel like I'm trapped, kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
It's not good for my anxiety.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm playing a first-person shooter, which I don't want that experience in a movie.
Yeah.
It feels like you're playing a first-person shooter in like your body as a 3-year-old when you can't control the controller.
Exactly. But you know, people are running and stuff, and they're just like, and the mic is like real close, and you can hear this person who's holding the camera breathing and stuff. It's kind of weird.
It's too much.
At the same time, I can see where they're coming from. Like, oh, I'm here, you know, and this is from my perspective. And like you said, if it makes it feel like you're a part of the movie, I kind of don't want to be a part of the movie.
I want to watch the story. I don't want to be in the story.
Yeah.
You lower the budget a little bit. Get a camcorder.
Yeah.
You know, you think it's gonna be nice, gritty.
No. Raw.
No.
No.
It's raw.
I mean, some would argue that it's a little bit too raw of an experience
Yeah, definitely.
because, like y'all were saying, it makes you feel like you're in the movie. But a lot of the times in those situations, I don't want to be there.
I know.
Like when somebody getting crept up on in the dark and you just imagine yourself, you know, I feel like that's why a lot of people are like afraid after watching movies like that. Like when they go to bed at night in their own house and they're like, I'm leaving the light on tonight.
Because it's too realistic, because you were the main character.
There was also one more that I think it was called As Above, So Below. And these people were archaeologists. And it was also kind of like shaky cinematography, but like the person was just like, it was the cameraman. And throughout, they were looking for like something underneath like tombs and everything. I think it had something to do with Anubis, but it was terrifying because it was just like you were right there and in the dark and nothing but like a camera light shining on anything, and then you hear a noise, you turn, it's just it's terrifying. It really is. And the last part is just like, the last part, you can see from behind what's coming and the person doesn't know. So it's like weird. I'm sorry. I dropped the ball. But yeah, my next topic, I was going to talk about the evolution of Steven Universe, how it turned from just this innocent little child with a hamburger backpack, and then him having such trauma-related issues that manifested and almost killed everyone he loved. To be honest.
Can I say something here? Can I say something? I'm gonna say something.
We're all friends here.
Being a newer Steven Universe fan, I actually did not mind how it went from basically like slice of life to slice of life.
Terrible.
Slice of life to slice of life.
Slice of life to slice of life.
Slice of life to slice your life.
That transition was a bit jarring for me, but only because I was one of those people who asked a veteran which parts I should watch and which I should skip to. So I basically did a speed run of the series, and I got even more whiplash than somebody watching it normally would have.
It is. It's so fast.
It doesn't change as fast, but when you skip like 3 episodes of plot development and then suddenly everything is happening, you're like, oh my God, what did I miss?
Yeah. I know for me, like I remember when it first came out and I didn't want to watch it because it just seemed so campy. And then a friend of mine, a few years later, a friend of mine was like, man, you gotta sit here and watch Steven Universe with me. It's getting good. I'm like, you talking about that dude with the hamburger backpack?
Yeah.
And then we watched the episode. I was like, what have I been missing?
Yeah.
What's happening?
Yeah.
Why are we doing this? What?
Exactly. Because it takes you and you're like, oh, this is so sweet. And then I think the first real moment for me was that Lapis Lazuli episode, with the mirror episode, where she was trapped all that time. And then the first thing she got, when she got out, she was like, oh, Steven, I know you. And then she's like, I don't know these other people. So she died. But her trauma was real because she had been used for so many years and not being able to speak or say like, hey, I'm in here. That was rough, like realizing that. And for some reason, I don't think when I first watched it, I understood fully. But, you know, as I think I kind of grew up with it. So as I got older, I was just like, wow, that's really bad. And it affected her decisions later on. As we do with the entire series, like with Steven and everything, his decisions came back to bite him later. And I'm glad, like, there's a lesson there, you know, that self-care is very important. Mm-hmm. And you can't just let yourself, you know, be your wants and needs be put on the back burner for other people, like your whole life.
It's realistic.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah. It was too real.
Because that's the thing that a lot of people today deal with in their daily lives. You know, it spoke about a message that's current to modern society. So a lot of people are like, wow, this hit real close to home, and I didn't like that. Because a lot of people are finally waking up to the fact that mental health is important. And the show did it in such a way that caught a lot of people off guard. But I feel like that was the best implementation of the idea.
Moving on, I decided to talk about The Grinch and which version may be the best. I'm
Oop.
Go ahead.
Okay, I've seen all the versions except for the recent one that came out with the horror Grinch.
Oh, that's out already?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. So we're just gonna pretend.
The who now?
It's called The Grinch, but it's supposed to be a horror film. Like The Grinch is
okay. That's not the word I thought you said.
Horror.
The horror Grinch.
Well, I would definitely watch that. But anyway, but which one? I've seen all three of them. The first, I think, animated one I haven't seen in a while, but I did like it until I saw Jim Carrey portraying my hero, because I loved him. He reminded me of Oscar the Grouch, and I really love Oscar. So I was like, he's just a grown-up Oscar. That's it. And he hates Christmas. That's it.
Isn't Oscar already grown?
I mean, yes. Taller. More, I guess, taller is what I meant to say. And he grew out of his trash can, possibly. I'm like, I don't know why I think Oscar is a child. He is literally just...
You know what? Now I'm thinking Oscar and the Grinch are the same species. So that's going to be in my head for a while.
Oh.
But I know what you mean. I am a fan of the Jim Carrey version, although you cannot beat that original song from the classic.
I don't know. I like it, but like I like the comedy Jim Carrey brings to the song in his movie. So that's him singing while he's working on the sleigh and everything. Yep. And I didn't know that. I just thought, I kept looking for like a different name, and I was like, oh, he actually sings this, like the whole thing. I was like, wow, that's so crazy.
Jim Carrey is my favorite too.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. I don't know, it's just the sass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That he brings. It's so hilarious. It just seems like he's just the middle-aged grumpy old man up the hill.
Yes, and the sass really fits the Grinch character.
Yeah.
So it's almost like he was born to play that part. He does it so well.
Literally. Some people probably only think of that Grinch when they think of the Grinch.
I think somebody else had auditioned for it. I think Jack Black tried to audition for it, and but I think he turned it down. And so Jim Carrey was like, "Oh well, I'm here."
It wouldn't have been the same.
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't have been. But like, he's so and I thank him for going through all that torture, because I think it took 10 hours or 8 hours to put on his makeup, and he had to do that like every day. And it's just I can't picture being like in a full face of makeup for that long.
Not to mention the whole contact lens thing.
Oh yeah. He said his eyes were messed up for like a while after that. I was like, I can imagine too, because that goes across your whole like. Nope, I can't imagine anything going in my eyes for like that. That's terrible.
Oh man.
But he still like did like a stunning performance, and I was like, that's great. I love it. But yeah, he was. The newer Grinch though, I like the animation, but it's not that bad. He's not as mean, so I still want to go through. I'm gonna say that the Jim Carrey Grinch was the best one. But that's all I have for my topics. Tell me what your favorite Christmas movie is on Instagram and Twitter at PopDiskette.
That's all the time we have for this week. We hope you enjoyed. Don't be afraid to let us know what you think. Find us on Instagram and Twitter at PopDiskette, and we hope you'll join us again for more spicy pop culture discussion. See you soon.